friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya, and it is a beautiful afternoon outside. The weather is absolutely perfect out there. What better time to make a baked potato for dinner? And instead of just making a baked potato and have different family members just grabbing for whatever they can find to go on theirs, let's make baked potato in a bowl, all inclusive. We're going to make the sauce to go on just a potato, and it has everything in it. So go with us as I show you how to make kind of a broccoli cheese soup, but it has other stuff in it too. Nobody's going to be lacking for their favorite topping on a baked potato. So let's go in the kitchen and get started. Okay, we're in the kitchen now. I'm going to turn this burner on underneath a saucepan. I'm going to use this clear saucepan just so you can see it. I've got another camera set up over here, so I want you to see it. I want you to see it from both sides, no matter what we do. All right, first ingredient we're going to add to our saucepan is about 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to heat that up just a little bit. This is going to be gluten-free. You don't have to make it gluten-free. I don't necessarily need anything gluten-free. Nobody in my family that's going to be eating this tonight needs gluten-free, but I just want to show you that it can be done gluten-free without a change of taste. It's not going to alter the taste in any way whatsoever. And rice flour, brown rice flour in particular, organic brown rice flour, this right here makes a great substitute for flour or a gluten product when you're trying to make a roux to thicken something up. So just so you know. All right, I want to show you what's on this cutting board. I've gotten everything ready ahead of time. So right here I have, these are frozen chopped onions, maybe a tablespoon and a half. It's only for 2 baked potatoes. So if you're making more, obviously you're going to make bigger quantities of it. This is about 2 large fresh whole mushrooms chopped up. Of course, mine are frozen because that's how I keep them. This is cooked bacon. This is no nitrate, also known as uncured bacon. So I have about 2 slices of it. I chopped that up. This is about 1 ounce of cream cheese. This is sharp cheddar that I cut up. And of course, organic fresh broccoli. Obviously, you can add other things to it if you want, but this will be perfect for us. It kind of ticks all the boxes with the butter, the cream cheese, the broccoli, the cheese, the bacon, the mushrooms. Yeah. We're going to be good with this. And I started to just make this, and this wasn't a planned video at all, but I thought, there's probably somebody out there going, I am so tired of making the same thing. And I'd like to just make something that I could make ahead of time or run in at the last minute. This is both of those things. You can make this ahead of time. I put those baked potatoes in my slow cooker this morning at about between 8 and 9 o'clock, and they're done already. Right now it is about 2:45. I checked them at about 2:30. They're done, so I turned it off. But if you have a slow cooker that has a warm setting, just keep it on warm. But these baked potatoes are like, I don't know, they're pretty hefty. They're about that big. So those are completely done. And what I did was I took a cake tester and I poked it down in there, and it slid right in and right back out. So all I did with the baked potatoes was I scrubbed them really well yesterday when I brought them in and cleaned them up and let them dry really well. I took a paring knife and I poked holes in all around the sides of them. I looked like a maniac trying to hatchet up a potato, but it wasn't torn up, just poking holes in it. I took coconut oil and slathered all over them, dropped them down in the slow cooker, and liberally sprinkled it with salt. You can always wash the salt off later, but it just it just makes it, it seems like it gives a little bit more flavor if there's some salt on there. Of course, we eat the peel and everything, so it's all gone by the time we finish. All right, we are going to put our, let's see, we'll put our onion in here first. Now this will be left in this saucepan for probably a couple of hours before we leave, or before we eat. We're not going anywhere. But if you're doing it at the last minute, go ahead and saute your onions enough to where they're soft. I don't have to do that because mine's going to be in there a while and they're going to cook. Everything's going to get soft. Everything's going to get soft. Now, if you wanted to cook this, like say at night or early in the morning before you leave for the office or before you leave for school, then you can let it sit on something that stays on a warm setting, or make it the day ahead of time, put it in the refrigerator, and then when you come in, you have your potatoes that are hot, and you heat this up and pour over them. That would work out perfect. The only difference with mine is that I have that luxury of letting it sit in the pan, and I could even put it on a low simmer and just let it cook for a while and make sure the broccoli and the onions and mushrooms are all softened as it just stays warm. And this is my homemade chicken bone broth. I think I got sidetracked a while ago. I walked to the refrigerator to get it out, and I'm one of those people that walks in a room and go, what did I come in here for? Oh yeah. But apparently it was something else that I did because I didn't get the bone broth out of the fridge like I headed over there to do. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our broccoli in now. And I would say that's about a cup of broccoli florets. I am measuring absolutely nothing in this, nothing. But when I put the recipe in the description, I'll try to give it my best guess. And again, this is for just 2 baked potatoes, but it'll make plenty of sauce. This is my brown rice flour, and this just does nothing more than, well, actually there's 2 things it does. It thickens it, but it also provides things for the cheese to hang on to. Now, let me explain that. If I were to just put a liquid in here and say, I don't necessarily need to be thick, I just need for it to have all the vegetables in it and the cheese. When I put that cheese in there, it's going to stay in those strings of, I'm assuming it's protein. I'm really not that smart, so I'm just throwing that out. It's probably the wrong thing. But anyway, the cheese is going to stay in strings and it's not going to break up. If I put this rice flour in there, or you use wheat flour as a thickener or to make a roux with, it's almost like it walks into a room and sees all its friends. And like if you have 10 kids and you walk into a room that has 10 kids already in it, every kid goes to a different kid and they all separate. But if you walk into a room with 10 kids and there's 1 kid in a room, they're all going to go to that 1 kid. So with that scenario, just pretend that the brown rice flour or the wheat flour are the 10 kids in the room, and you put the cheese in and they're 10 kids. All the cheese is going to go to a rice flour particle or a wheat flour particle and be separated. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be consistent all the way through. It's not going to be globby. But take my word for it, if you don't put something in there that has that thickening capability like brown rice flour or wheat flour, it is going to be, your cheese is going to stay in blobs. I don't know why, it just does. We'll just say that's too sciencey for me, but I may or may not have had this experience on more than one occasion, namely because I forget that I did it before and I just keep doing it again. But I think I'm old enough now, I quit doing that. So we put flour in it. And again, it's not going to be a taste difference whatsoever regardless of what you use, because you could probably use cornstarch or tapioca starch or something like that. But the cheese needs to have something to hang on to when it gets in that liquid, or else it's going to stay in those stringy pieces and blobs. All right, I'm going to put my cream cheese in here just so it can soften and get incorporated into that. And if you're thinking to yourself, it just looks like she's making broccoli cheese soup, you're right. It does look like I'm making broccoli cheese soup. And if you want to skip that potato, you go right ahead, because that's exactly what this is. It's just we're not making a giant pot of it like I normally do when I make soup, because it's just going to go on 2 potatoes. All right, we're going to put our bone broth in there. You are free to use milk in this. In fact, I started to use milk, and I thought, you know, I'm kind of stingy with my milk. So I'm just going to use the bone broth. It's going to have tons of flavor. We'll see how much we need here. And again, we're just putting this on 2 baked potatoes, so I don't need a lot of liquid in this. It's probably enough right there. I would say I might have put maybe a half to 2/3 of a cup of chicken broth in that. We're going to stir this, and it should thicken up a bit. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of salt while I'm at it too. Not quite 1/4 of a teaspoon, but pretty close. The nice thing about using the brown rice flour is that if you look at it at this point and go, it's really not thickening up like I want it to, and I want it to be thicker. I almost want it to be spreadable. I mean, some people want theirs that way. You can add a little teaspoon at a time, thicken it up as much as you want. And if it's too thick, just add more liquid to it. Usually when it starts to boil, you can tell right then if it's going to be thick enough. So mine is just now starting to have bubbles come to the top. And I think I put 2 teaspoons of brown rice flour in it, but I was talking, so I'll have to go back and watch the video to do the recipe, but I'm pretty sure it was about 2 teaspoons. Okay, I think this is going to be fine, because once I put that cheese in there, it's going to thicken up as well. All right, off to put our cheese in there. And we'll go ahead and put the bacon in as well. Yeah, this is going to be nice. Okay, I don't know if the lights are so bright that you can't see it with that camera. We're still at a loss about the light up here being too bright. My husband edits it and goes, I can't see anything. I'm like, I'm sorry. And I'm just thinking someday it's gonna look right, but it hasn't yet. Okay, I'm gonna turn my burner off. Maybe I'll just come over here with it and let you see it. That's what the soup looks like. I'll video it better after a while. All right, when my husband comes in, we will get the baked potatoes, start assembling them. I'll get him to video the part where I put it on the baked potato maybe. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. All right, for right now, I'm just going to put the lid on it. Turn this bright light off. There. Now we're done with our sauce. Baked potatoes are done. Sauce is done. I'll put my chicken broth back in the refrigerator, and I'll give you a look at it when we start to serve it and start to eat it. So we'll be back in a bit. I want to show you what the baked potatoes look like. They're pretty big. You can see how big they are compared to my hand. But this is my cake tester. Both of them are completely soft all the way through. And it's got steam coming up there. Okay, so I've had this on low for probably 7 hours. So I'm just going to turn this off and it'll stay warm until dinner time. You want to cook it on low between 6 and 8 hours, or on high, I think about 4 hours. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look at my times on that. I'll try to put that in the recipe in the description, the times for cooking baked potatoes in the crock pot. But remember, if it's during the summertime, this thing goes out on the porch. But because the weather's nice today, it's not too warm outside, then we left it inside on the countertop. Ooh, it barely fit in the bowl. Okay. And that's our loaded baked potato with, let's call it everything from the potato bar on it, sauce. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And now we're gonna eat. Bye.